share my screen with my. I am live. Good evening, everybody. Can you see me? This is working. Okay, so look, I might look so messy in here now. Don't need this one. I'm using this one tonight. Let's get this other one. Am I coming in loud and clear, people? Somebody give me a heads up. Tell me I'm doing this right. Right, cool. Excellent. Put that out of the way. Don't need that over there. It's going to fall over. God, this office is goddamn horrible. Right, this is weird. I'm kind of like doing this from my desk rather than the work desk, which is over there. The work desk is actually look. That's looking as it goes completely empty because I thought I'd do everything from here tonight. I'm doing this straight off YouTube. I'm using the YouTube live streaming kit, and which is okay. As a first attempt, I thought I'd do it this way around. If this works and we enjoy this and it all kind of works out right, then I might dive into doing something a bit more complicated with different systems, maybe even on Twitch. I don't know. I quite like doing it on YouTube because that's where all you guys are. But I might do it with a different system where I can kind of like have different cameras and things. But actually, everything I'm going to do tonight is going to be here, this, and then I'm going to be very sophisticated, and I'm going to move the camera from here to over here, so it can kind of like film what I'm doing down here. Well, thank you very much for joining me. I'm so pleased that a couple of people have turned up. Otherwise, I would have felt a bit stupid sitting here right now, all by myself in my little office. For those of you who have never been in Magnathea Builder World HQ, a quick tour. If you have a quick tour, let's have a quick tour. Right, so obviously this is where I spend most of my time creating the whimsy. Have a drink. This is where actual work takes place, as well as hobby when it's not somewhere else. So yeah, in here then, as you can see, I'm intellectually trying to appear superior and important, although they're all wargaming rules over here, so it's not like it's really heavy reading. This is the Tolkien shelf. This is the Necromunda One Day I'll Play at Games shelf. These are other rule systems. What we got? Oh, that's an award we won at Salute this year. It's small, but you know, as opposed to this one, which is the award we won only a week ago at Partisan. Thank you. Right, so up here we've got Legends of the Old West, we've got Judge Dredd, we've got more Judge Dredd role-playing game. Moonstone, yeah, I'll talk about that a bit. Carnivale, Empire of the Dead, because I've got to make a building for that, as a Patreon build. That will be actually one of my next videos. Then up there's actual history books. Down here is actual Star Wars books. Behind all that smoking things, other than more history books. And then over on this section, loads of Carnivale buildings that are in the process, book stuff. Then stack boxes down there, figure cases and things. That's the workbench. This cupboard here is where the most of the great pile of shame lives. Then around this side, over there, behind all that cat, it's really. I should have tied it up, really. There's a project I'm going to be making a video about very soon. That is very cool because that's for Hobbits, for Lord of the Rings. Have fun again. Up there, some of my favourite artwork. Rivendell by Rodney Matthews, and the cover of On Storyteller's Night by Macron, also by Rodney Matthews. We've got Middle Earth and the Warhammer Old World, and Venice over there and stuff. That's kind of cool. A bit messy. I've tied it in. Anyway, what are we doing tonight? So, who we got online already? All right, Gary Goyes here. Hello, Gary, nice to see you. Which is very cool. And Robert Langlands and Andrea, I've taken you. There's Nick Kelly. Hello, guys. Mr. Topics. Chris, I plan to be here for the next 2 hours. You don't have to be. You can come and hang around. It might be longer than that, you know. So, what are we doing tonight? Tonight I'm planning on building a model from start to finish. It's kind of really cool new project that I kind of teased, and I think we teased it at colours. If you wanted to colours, we were kind of teasing it. Certainly, at the price out last week, I was speaking about it, which is super cool. And the response was really good. So let's dive in. This is what I'm all about tonight. Quite often here. And this is a Magathea building. I build a world's kit. I'm quite excited about this. This is this is. Oh, I tell you what, I am totally kidding you. This kit guarantees the whimsy. First of all, yeah, probably ain't gonna be longer than 2 hours. I've got to do this in 2 hours. I want to do this in 2 hours. This is a new thing that I'm doing in conjunction with my friends Harry and Gary, who I gave with Harry is famous, right? We're going to dive into this in a minute, see what it's all about. Basically, if you watch this channel, if you've been watching, following my channel, you'll know that I make models. I love to make wargaming models, and I've been doing it for about 40 years. Um, Last weekend at Partisan, I had a really lovely conversation with Dave Andrews, who is the great workshop main scenery builder. I fought Dave on many occasions at the Battle of Bosworth and other 15th century battlefields, and it was always good fun. But it was nice to talk hobby with him last week. And the important thing about that, his table was right next to ours at Partisan. They won best demo game, and we won best participation game. But it was nice to talk to Dave because, apart from anything else, his articles in writing around about 1987, 1988 launched me to building wood. So I've always loved making scratch built terrain. Right? That's what I'm mostly about. That's what I'm known for, making battlefields and models that are scratch built. I don't have a problem with MDF kits. I really don't. Like up here is a whole shelf full of MDF kits for Carnival. Uh, they're nice. I like to do extra things with them, put proper tiles on them, that kind of thing, and try and elevate them a bit. But I have no problem with MDF kits. I also, to some extent, have no problem with 3D printed kits. 3D printed model. Here is a very nice hobbit hole that I got from when I bought a salute this year from Irongate Scenery. They make it under license. It's a brilliant print, and I want to play. One of my aims this winter is to play through the whole of the Scouring of the Shire from Middle Earth Structure Battle Game. Now, to do that, I need to build Shire terrain. I also want to get on and make videos, play the games, and do some battle reports. So I bought a bunch of these so I can get on and make Shire very quickly. So I have no problem with 3D printed stuff. I have no problem with MDF stuff. MDF has revolutionised the war games world, and means that loads of people can have really satisfying terrain on the battlefields. But the one thing that always strikes me about MDF and 3D printed scenery is that unless we're careful, all our war games tables start looking very similar, right? And to me, the joy of a war games table is that they have whimsy. Have a drink. Or they are personal. Each one is unique. And I'm acutely aware of that. And I'm very passionate about trying to promote people building their own models. It's what I've been doing this on this YouTube channel for about 5 years. So it's kind of weird. And I was talking about this a little while ago. Good evening, Go For It Painting. Nice, thanks for joining me. I've been thinking of this a little while ago, and mainly because my friend Gary was close to retirement. He used to work for Ford as an engineer, and he's got all the toys: printers, laser cutters, 3D scanner. Have you got a 3D scanner, Gary? Gary, watching this? Give me a shout. We did talk about scanning my 3D, my Boris and Badgers buildings ages ago, and making models of it. But actually, what we got onto is that what I want to do is get people making their own models. And I often get people ask me, well, where do you get this material from? I don't know where to start. The problem is, in some ways, is that when you do start getting materials in for scratch building, you've got to then find places to put it all. I have mine kind of squirreled away, or the luxury of having an office across the garden over there, where some of the other stuff is. Yes, I have a scanner. Thank you, Gary. Thank you for joining me. But we haven't scanned any of the buildings, have we? Because we're doing this instead. So what we came up with, mainly because Gary went and bought himself a laser cut, was that wouldn't it be cool if we started doing stuff with my models and their kit, and we kind of came up with this funny plan. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a Magna Builder World's design, Fable Fade kit, um, which is like Gusto or HelloFresh, but for wargame. Okay, this is a scratch building kit. It's not a kit in the traditional sense. So it's not a kit like an MDF kit where you get several sheets of cut MDF that you can only put together one way. This is basically a box of stuff. So in here, and we'll unpack it in a minute on the desktop. In here are all the components to make this. This appeared on our table at Partisan last week. This is a building for, well, essentially I made for Boris and Badgers, but effectively you could use this for Boris and Badgers, for Moonstone, for Arcworld, for any fantasy tabletop game. It will look great in a village set up for tabletop role players playing D&D or other games. It's something that I'm super excited about. Oh, nice. But the whole point of it is that this uses traditional materials and takes advantage of some of the modern things available to us now. So it's made with 5mm foam core. It's made with balsa wood. It's made with 10mm XPS foam. It also has a couple of 3D printed elements. There's a 3D printed window here. And the door frame is 3D printed. The door is possible. And it also has laser cut strips of rooftop. Okay. The other thing is the reason why I'm doing this video tonight is I want to make one, see how it takes, using just the stuff in the box, because I haven't worked out the instructions. Right? It's pretty straightforward. But the whole point is you can build this in a number of different ways. So we get that kind of ability to build this and get a number of different models all out of the same kit. Right. Could be your 66-year-old ears. How are we doing sound wise, people? How's it you? Let me know. I'm watching the chat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to unpack this box first of all, and we're going to have a look inside. So I'm going to put this building to one side. It's a touch off. We'll make it work, Gary. Right, so this, I'll speak about it. Here's the box. Nice box. Modern picture of building on front. Our logo. It does say fancy cottage kit 28mm ish, because I'm kind of like aiming for this to be for 28 to 30mm. B&B is a weird scale anyway. And we've designated this one experience level beginner up top. Okay. Then on the back, there's a picture of the contents, and it tells you what you haven't got. You need to make this kit, apart from the gears inside, craft knife, glue, a metal ruler, tin foil, and paint brushes. Okay. And it does also suggest that little younger people need to have an adult around. Okay, so look, I'm going to move the camera. I'm going to keep an eye on your comments just to make sure we're doing all right sound. So running all just off one webcam. And we're going to unpack this box and see what it looks like. We've been going for 15 minutes now, and we've probably seen enough of Tim's plate. And also, it says Whimsy all the time, right? If it says Whimsy here, what does it say Whimsy? If it says Whimsy here all the time, you have to keep drinking. Is that the way the ball's going? Don't know. Right, okay. So remove the camera. Hang on. Okay, so there, look. As if by magic, hopefully, what we're going to do with a bit of fannying around. There's now my desktop. Right. So I apologise. I'm going to try and do this upside down. Now my hands. Hello, hands. Right. Okay. So one kit box. Okay. In here then. Let's have a look at the components. Piece of bubble wrap all in place. A set of laser cut roof tiles. 6 sheets of those. 2 sheets. Yeah, they fold them. And then the bits that I really like. First of all, laser cut cable end plate. This is going to help us cut out our phone call in a moment. And this one is to make a 4-inch wide building. We've got a 1-inch wide wall template. This is just for ease of use, putting down on your phone, XPS phone, so we can draw and cut really quickly. Although it's not steel rule, so be careful when cutting. With this, there is a beam rafter template, which is nice. There is also somewhere in here an upright one of those. Get to that. We've got 2 different thicknesses of balsa wood. We have a little bag of sand and gravel, a little bag of flock, a 3D printed door, a 3D printed window, a strip of 10 tufts flock, a laser cut cardboard base, 1 piece of 5mm. Right, there we go. This is 5mm phone call. This is 1 piece of 10mm XPS phone. 2 bits of mounting board, which is going to make the roof. Here is the centre beam, and also in here there's a little block of XPS foam. We're just making pieces of it. Cool. I haven't said how much this kit is yet. Gonna get to that, but I'm glad you're interested. Right, okay, so look, I'm going to pull this to one side for a minute. All that back in there, not as neat as it was packed by Harry or Gary. Then on top of that, you are going to need glue. I'll be using 3 different glues whilst making this. You don't have to use heavy duty PVA. You could just use Mod Podge for all of this, but I like this glue as well. We need a craft knife. What else do we need? We need a steel rule, which I put down, and we need tin foil. Not necessarily by Sainsbury's, other versions of tin foil are available. Right, this kit is going to be, just for those who are already asking, £20 posted to you in the UK. And this is the first, hopefully, of several. So, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at and start with making this one. Okay, so we'll get the glues out of the way. We're going to all got all my stuff. I'll put it all back in the box. We're not going to need the flock or the tufts this evening because I'm not going to get this model painted. I should imagine whilst we're doing this live feed. We are going to need the back of it and the other bits and pieces too. So, starting with our base and XPS foam. How exciting is this? I'm about to Yeah, I'm working on it, Kit. All right, here we go. Is that better? All right, okay. So what we're going to do is turn that there. Okay, so first thing we're going to do with this model then, before we do anything else, is take a piece of tin foil that's rolled up into a ball, like we have done before many times on the videos, and I'm going to do the whole of this thing. I haven't mentioned I need a pen or a pencil. I can't believe I'm doing this live. I can't believe there are currently 29 people watching me do this live. At least 29 people. So, texturing my piece of blue XPS. Started at 1951. So, interestingly, we're going to see how long this takes. I haven't got a set of instructions for this. I'll be working out the order of how I did these things so I can make the set of instructions. I'm going to texture both sides of this. It's interesting when you can see the difference between the roll bit and the flat bit here. You could work entirely with XPS just like this, but this compresses the XPS, also gives it texture, which makes it a lot more fun to paint. Is this build going to be whimsical? I bloody well hope so. Good evening, Dr. Vesuvius. I hope you're keeping well. If you are playing the whimsy game, well, yeah, I'll get to that. If you are playing the whimsy game, then Dr. Vesuvius, oh shit, now I've said it now. I've now said it 5 times, so you better catch up. If you're not playing the whimsy game, oops, 6, then you're not going to get drunk this evening. I am not playing that game because I'm about to use sharp knives. All right, so look, there's one side. In the old days, from a Blue Peter point of view, I would have had one of these prepared already, but the whole point of this is doing it live so we can see how long it takes. Fortunately, this is a beginner level model and it's not very big. Okay, nearly there. Now these models have an inch high lower wall. Hence why the wall template is an inch wide. Good. Okay. Oh, good. I'm pleased, Gary. Yeah, like I said, the problem with this first live stream is I'm literally only using a webcam tonight. So if I get into it and you guys get into it and we find it's quite a good way of sharing a hobby, I'll experiment with other gear. Okay, there is my textured bit of XPS foam. Now, the base of this model, he says, grabbing a ruler from across the workshop, is 5 inches by 8 inches. My template for my gable end is 4 inches wide. So I'm going to make a 4-inch wide building, and because I want it to look different to this model was 4 inches wide and 5 inches long with a backyard. I'm going to make this one a little bit longer, and this time I've decided instead of having the chimney here in the middle of the side wall, we're going to mount the chimney in the back wall because this is scratch building, so we can do it any way we like. Okay, so I need 4 walls, and I'm going to need, so I think it's going to be about 6 inches long. In fact, I'm going to make it just under 6 inches because that's how wide my XPS is. But having said that, by the time I add 10 millimeters on each end, it will be over 6 inches, which is cool. It's going to give me a little bit of room around the back for the chimney. So all I'm doing to start off with, using my saucy wall template, and I'm going to try and do this upside down for you guys so it will make sense as well. I'm just going to draw on some 1 inch walls. Funnily enough, I'm going to need 4 of those. Now, if I was clever, and I'm not, I would work out, I'll only do 4 inches across here for the others, and then I can use this bit over here. I can use that bit for something else, maybe. So I'm just going to mark off 4 inches there. I'll do it again. Trying to make this relatively square. I'm not sure how I could tell that was the wall template. Harry, thanks for asking. Looks like Nick Ellaby is still going to be drunk already. Sorry, mate. All good. So, okay, here then is the walls for our house. I have already put a brand new blade in this knife. As was pointed out earlier, use a sharp blade here, people. Very important. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just cut these. Now, you could, if you've got a Proxon, cut this on a Proxon, but to be quite honest, this is a 6-inch piece of XPS foam, and I'm planning on not messing it up. So here we go. Cool, that's a good point. Yeah, thank you. Look, you can see I'm such a total amateur at this. Go For It Painters just told me to say, yeah, don't forget to hit the like button. So far, you're doing a grand job. So from that point of view, oh shit, don't do that. See what happens when you free cut? You make a mess of it. Right, there you go. Putting this to one side, I'm going to need this for the chimney in a minute. And it's going to leave me a bit of excess as well, which is quite cool. All right, so roughly speaking, we have wall, quite a decent sized house. This one, not going to have a yard outside or the rest of it, although I can move this right to the front and there'll be a little bit of space. That's not a problem. It's quite a lot, isn't it? I quite like having a little yard or thing around the back. So what I might do is chop an inch off both of these and make it 5 inches long, which will be about roughly the same length as the other one. Swings and roundabouts. We're going to have a chimney out the back. No, sorry, leave it as is. Right, okay, so next thing then, we're going to draw on our stonework. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a, there we go, we're going to definitely have a door in the front of this. So what I'm going to do is that door's going to sit in there. We'll cut out a piece of foam here to drop that in, and then that way there, when we make our foam core bit, we'll cut out a similar piece, and that will then mean the top will sit on the bottom nicely. Is this all making sense so far? I certainly hope so. This video is being brought to you by Diet Coke, as are all my videos. One of my biggest regrets in life, along with getting a U in my French O level to piss off my parents, was not ever buying shares in Coca-Cola Schweppes. Right, so we're going to offset this a little bit. It's worth taking our roof template to make sure it's going to fit. You can't go too far over because it will stick out. But if I do that like that, I can now have a front window too. What I'm doing here is I'm just drawing in where the door's going to go because I don't want to bother wasting time drawing stonework. Right, so with a biro, I'm now just going to draw on stonework.
I like doing this bit because it's kind of arty, but you can't really get it wrong. This is kind of like got a row of 5 stones, bricks, whichever, and you just kind of go for it, really. And these at the ends, they also need texturing. And I'm going to draw around the end stones. Like that. There we go. One end and round the other end. I'm going to go down here, stonework, work back this way. Now, so far, I'm hoping that, I mean, quite a few of you. All right, I'll tell you what, how about if I do that? Does that confuse the issue then, Jimbo? Good evening, Jimbo. How you doing, mate? Nice for you to be here. Thanks for joining me this evening on this new, wild and wacky kind of like plan. Do we think that I should get all my stickers out and cover up all the labels? Hell no. I always talk about who I use and what I use. So look, stonework going in. Nice and simple. And like I said, you can't really mess this. Well, I suppose you probably could mess it up, but I like to think that you can't. This is one of the things that makes your buildings kind of unique and random compared to somebody else's. This is why we're making this model rather than buying an MDF kit or a really nice Perry plastic kit or one of the amazing new tabletop world cottages. I've got 2 of those in a crate over there. They're just kind of awesome. And they're definitely going to get used as well. But, this is about cheap, affordable, good fun, satisfying terrain you make yourself. Okay, so that's the front wall. And now I'm going to have to do this as well. These are, if I was that bothered, I'd actually line it up with this one and work out where all the stones are going to go. Look, I am that bothered. You can do that. So the idea with these kits while I'm doing this is that we kind of like hope people will have a go at scratch building their own versions of these models. The nice thing is the fact that it's I think quite a cost-effective way of doing that. You don't, if you're a beginner, a scratch builder, if you've got a limited amount of space, then the nice thing about this is that you get just the right amount of material. You get a little bit extra. You're always going to have a bits box at the end, but you're not having to order bloody great big sheets of foam core or XPS foam and then find somewhere to store it. This is very much like a crafter's box or a Hello Fresh meal. My hope is that folk who have got, I'm lucky, I've got this workshop that I work in. It's my office as well, where I work from home, which is cool. And some people don't have a dedicated space for that kind of thing, and they have to make do on their kitchen table or sat in front of the telly or in a corner of the living room. And I want these kits to, a lot of them, to be laptop kits in that you could sit and make these on a little knee table or a little table sat in front of you whilst you got the telly on. From that point of view, I'm hoping that they're really going to appeal to folk who aren't sure, want to have a go, never done any scratch building before, will inspire people, want their own table. And yeah, the number of people I've spoken to in the last 5 years who have enjoyed what I've done and then wanted to know how I do it or how you go about where you start. This seems to be like a really good vehicle to do that. So this is like I said, the first one of these we're doing, and the plan is to make several more in this fantasy range first of all. we've talked about doing maybe a different design for a house, but we're definitely going to do the next model I'm going to work on design wise is going to be a forge, which again will be a relatively straightforward build. Same design, same gable end, bigger building probably. But the nice thing about that is we'll make sure that's got some different elements with it. So we'll have a little anvil in it and various other bits and pieces that are 3D printed, so you can make your own forge out of that. So that's one of those. And then on top of that, we're also going to have, the plan is to have, what else we talk about making? A chapel. And text to the end here. We're going to make a little chapel. Yeah, a forge, a couple of different houses maybe, and an inn. So very quickly, we're going to end up with a village set that folk can make, and then it will be kind of like down to you how many you make and build. We're even talking about selling them as a set. Not a tavern next, no, mate. Goodness me, my lovely wife is watching me from the living room. I'm not making her sit in the workshop. Hello, darling. Nice for you to join me. Yeah, no, we're not making a tavern next, Nick, because that's going to be an advanced model. It's going to be a bigger kit, and I want to make another really easy to make kit first of all. So the forge is going to be the next one, possibly a different, slightly different, a larger house, or one which you can make it into a shop kind of thing. But we're definitely going to make a tavern. I'd like to say that we're going to get all of those sorted and ready before Christmas. I don't know how realistic that is, but certainly this particular kit is going to be available to buy by the end of the month. We just have got a couple of things to tweak. We've got a bunch ready to go out almost now. What I haven't done is actually made the instructions. So we're going to make an instructional video, and we're going to make a set of paper instructions that are in the box as well, so folk can have a go with. So this is the first one. And then I'd tell you what the other models are going to be priced at, but I can't remember. Harry, Fable Faye, help me out. What did we say we were going to be doing kits for? How much are we talking about? I think the forge is going to be £20 like this house. And then the chapel and the tavern would be slightly more expensive because they're going to be bigger models, more stuff in them, that kind of thing. So look, we're nearly there. Back wall almost done. Here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is now. I'm not texturing the inside. The inside of this building, the walls are plastered. Can we see that? Yes, we can. So I'm keeping that nice and smooth. Otherwise, that'll just do your absolute head in. And as it is, we're going to have to texture all the chimney. So from that point of view, right. So one more wall to go, and then we're done. So yeah, that's the kind of concept in the first kind of like instance. We're going to make this series of fancy buildings. I then want to make some slightly different buildings that are going to be a little bit more historical, probably a bit fancy as well, and will be great for games like Guards of Traitors Toll, where you want a town. So there'll be like 2-story buildings, that kind of thing. And we've even talked about making some bunkers and various other things for sci-fi games as well. So there's a lot that we could potentially do. I've got foam core based models that are great for Star Wars Legion. So we'll ahoy, evening heretical hobbyist. I keep getting all these notices, these notifications over me thing. So yeah, it will be interesting to see whether these take off, and where we go from there. Really, we are going to send out a couple of other video makers and see what they make of them. But I was very happy. We had conversations with people at Partisan last week about this as an idea, and well, there wasn't anybody who was rude to me and told me I was a loony and it was a stupid idea. So we'll kind of see how we go. In the first instance, having only seen me texture some polystyrene and draw bricks on them, I'm taking loads of time, as you can see over this. And hopefully with Nick on there already, who's shown interest. Is there anybody else here instantly gone, hell yeah, we like some of that? That looks like a kind of thing we could do. I mean, I'm intending them not to be super complicated models. I'm hoping that nobody's going to be intimidated by the actual model building side of things. And especially with this one, my aim is that you can build it in a couple of hours, even if you're talking to a whole bunch of mates at the same time. So we'll see how we go. 20 past 8. Yeah, you know, I might be here longer than 2 hours. You never know. This is actually one of the longest parts of the job, mind you. So from that point of view. Nearly there. Right. Bloody hell, that took some time. Okay, so there's my walls done. What are we doing now? Okay, we're going to stick these together. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to cut out this here bit of wall and this here bit of wall because this is where the door is going to go. I'm using Gorilla Glue PVA to stick down the main parts of the walls. Can't use Yoo-hoo obviously because it's a solvent-based glue, and it is going to that will melt the polystyrene, which is no good at all. So I'm running a bead of glue along the base of each. It's clogged. Bear with me a minute. Right, you fucker. We are going to. What are we going to do? We're going to stick a screwdriver in there. That's what happens with this stuff. There we are. It doesn't happen like this on bloody Blue Peter, does it? Eh? They don't have problems with their glue being clogged. Here we are. I'm going to run a bead of glue down there. A bead of glue down this bit. Like that. And a bead of glue across this. Oh, bum, I haven't drawn the stones on here. Look, there we go. Look. Make sure you draw your end stones before you put the glue on. Shit. And look at that. I mean, the way the stones are going on there, nice. Lots of whimsy here. Looks like it's been completely randomly made. So those of you, that's another drink there for you guys. Right, okay, so glue on that one. Glue on the bottom of that one. Make sure we put glue on the bottoms. There we go. Glue on the bottom of that. Always try and make sure that you can actually see what you're doing, Tim. Put a bit of glue on the base. And glue on the bottom of this. Right, now, next job is to stick these on. Going to stick one wall on here. Going to place the end bit on here, and I'm then going to find my little pack of pins. Stick a pin through the XPS, one into the other, to hold it in place. You can actually kind of completely cover those. They can stay in the model if you like, or if you really, really care, you can pull them out at the end. Right, put this end on. There we go. Pin at that end. Lovely. This wall in here. All right. Pin. Probably only need to use one here. I really like this Gorilla Glue. It's kind of sad to kind of talk about. But the nice thing about the Gorilla Glue is the fact that it really grips really well. So, and then that one there. Make sure my door fits in there, right? Screw it. Pull it all together. Now, now I stuck it all on one side. What I could do, a bit like the other model, and while I still can, I think I'm going to shove all this over on the base. Here we go. This is the difference between making a regular kit and making your own scratch built thing, because you're going to change your minds as you go. Moving this over to one side of the base, because this is going to give me options down the side of the house down here. And I'm going to stick my doorway in place. Nice little 3D printed doorway. Simple. I'm going to leave that. I'm not going to stick it in for the minute, but I'm going to leave that in there to hold everything else in place there. Right. That is the base kind of done. That's going to stick and glue now. So I'm going to leave that where it is. I'm going to put that to one side. And we're going to move on to, well, actually, I'll put that to one side. And now I want to think about the roof. The main structure of these buildings are the roofs. And I love this roof shape. I decided when I started playing Burrows and Badgers that I wanted my Burrows and Badgers games to look different to my other games, Mordheim, that thing. So I started making the roof with this great concave gable end, which is loads of fantasy, loads of whimsy, and thanks to Gary being able to design that, and the guys laser cutting that, everybody else can use these as well. I have just thought of one thing that's going to really annoy me now, and that is that I haven't thought about this. This is the window and where it's going. Now I deliberately thought about putting it in this end of the building, because this end of the building is going to have a chimney in it. So I might just cut that and sink that down a little into the polystyrene. Well done, Tim, for not thinking about that beforehand, you knob. Right, okay, so I'd like to point out this is a deliberate mistake, and we all planned for it. Yes, we did. Oh, Gary, sod off. You just asked me when I did a window. Right, okay. I do the window now, Gary. I do the window now. I should have done the window before. But, you know, I'm a pro, so it's fine. We're going in now. We're going to insert the window by cutting into the XPS foam. I'm not going in very far because it's also going to sit in the, going to cut into the foam core too. So I'm going to go down a little bit. And as my friend Gary rightly pointed out, I really should have put this window in beforehand, but, you know, sod it. Here we go. And then cutting into the X. But that's what's nice about using XPS is that you can do this. Cut that out. Plonk that there. Nobody will ever be the wiser. Now, what I can actually do, thinking about it, is use a tiny little bit. It could do with a little wooden. Could do with a little wooden frame, couldn't it? I'm going to use a tiny bit of balsa wood here. That's the same thickness that I'm going to stick underneath the wooden frame. Like that. Just to be a windowsill, because it will look pretty. And then I'm going to stick my window on top of it. Right. Yep. That was a deliberate mistake. Thanks for spotting that, Mr. Jenkins. That was good. Glad to see you on your toes. Gary Guy needs a tavern for well. I mean, what type of tavern, Gary? Is it a one that everybody fits in? I mean, this is gonna. We'll have this kit. We'll have a tavern done fairly soon because I love building taverns, as you know. And it's going to be an awful lot cheaper than the other tavern that I've got hold of recently. There we go. And now. That's quite neat, and I'm actually, serendipitously, I've just about managed to line up the door and the window at the same height. Right, okay, so now I'm going to put that to one side. I'm going to stick that window in though, mind you, so a little bit of glue around the bottom. There we go. Stick that in. That's nice. Right. I can clear up that. Door's going to go in there. So we're going to think about this roof now, as I was saying a moment ago. Need 2 gable ends. So I'm going to move over to 5mm foam board. Bing! 5mm foam board. Now then, okay, the thing I like about foam core is the fact that it's foam in the middle. It's a foam sandwich. Where's the camera? I'm showing that to the computer screen. It's no good. It's a foam sandwich. So foam here, cardboard on the outside, which means you can work with that quite nicely. So what we need is we're going to need 2 gable ends, and I'm also going to be using this foam core to help build the roof. So from that point of view, we're going to do 2 things. So first of all, literally, let's turn it this way around because then we can see it. Look. 4-inch roof, Magathea, Build a World, made by Fabled Faye. Nice. And I'll just draw that there. Here, 1, 2, and I'm going to draw another one here. Get the absolute maximum out of my foam board. One of these, of course, I'm going to have to cut a door and a window into, but we'll see how we go from that point of view. Okay. Freak hand down there. Take knife. Sharp knife, cut through this, no problem at all. It's like sharp knife through foam core. You have to use a sharp knife when you're using foam core, otherwise a blunt knife just drags out the foam on the inside and you don't get anywhere near as clean a cut. That's a really nice clean cut. That's come out really well using our template there. That's really good, like that. And then we're going to do another. Cool. Thanks for joining me, Dale. That's really cool. You carry on with your work. I feel for anybody who has to work at this time on a Sunday night. So have a good evening. This video will be pasted back up. Will be just there as part of my channel for you to come back to. But isn't going to be the final set of instructions. There'll be an instructional video to go through this as well. Right. So we've got our 2 ends. So this one's going to sit kind of nicely over there, and then this one is going to go up this end. Okay, cool. So this is the main structure of our building now. Leaving that, turning this way round, leaving that on the end. What I'm now going to do is I'm going to draw around, make sure I've got my door and my window in the right place, because I'm going to have to cut out. Just going to turn this around to face me for a minute. I'm going to have to cut out the door and window bits of the foam core to make it all fit. This is the important part if you want your model to come apart. If you don't want your model to come apart, then it doesn't matter too much. I mean, you can cut it all out, but my skirmish buildings always are made to come apart on the whole. They're part of the joy of playing the games that I play. I like characters to go in and out of the buildings, not just use the buildings for obstacles. So that window door there, and then round the window. Okay, so we're going to cut the door and the window out. Now, my only problem with where I've sat my door is it's going to be a bit of a pain in the bum when it comes to putting on the rafters in a minute. But we'll cross that bridge in a moment. Window. Pick that out. I can clean that up a little bit around the back using the top end of my blade, and hopefully that will sit nicely on top here. Hurrah! Which is going to make, we now know that that's going to fit nicely from that point of view. This one, the back, it just sits quite nicely as is. The curves hang a little bit, the bottom of the roof hangs a little bit over the edge of the wall, which is fine because we want that in many ways, because you want a bit of wall. You wouldn't have your roof ending where the wall is. It goes over the edge of the wall a little bit for rain to run off. Now, this one is also going to be what I'm building my chimney out of. So I'm going to have to think about that carefully in a minute. Okay, so MCM next weekend, blimey. Thinking of a round-fronted building that I could use for the new Discworld RPG in 2026. A round-fronted building. Oh, Gary, we'll have to get together and have a chat with that, man. That sounds kind of cool. Removable tops also make them great for all they do. Yeah. How many times so far has Tim said whimsy? Well, I've said it another. I think that's probably 8 or 9 now, which is not good because that's quite a lot of drinks in effectively an hour. Right, okay, so this is my back section. Right, we're going to have a look at, for a minute, balsa wood now. Let's work with this bit here at the front for balsa. Okay, so in this model, we have 4-inch rafter, this says, on this, which is pretty cool. And we've got some balsa here that looks like it's about 2.5 mils thick. And all we're going to do, I'm going to do the front of this building. Let's see if this is going to cause me a problem. Just about going to be right. Might have to take a little nick out of there, but that's cool. I've got that just about in the right place. So you can see that we're going to have one rafter there. We're then going to have one come up the other side like that. They'll join together, and then we have this little fella who sits right in the middle. And those are my 3 bits of balsa. So I need to cut out 3 bits of balsa for the front wall. Okay, so I'm literally going to place these onto my piece of balsa. I draw around it. One. And then another. We've made sure that you get enough balsa wood in the kit to A, make mistakes, B, get some offcuts that you can do other things with. So on that other model, the little fence around the back and the woodshed are both made from offcuts and bits and pieces. So look, I'm going to cut this out here. When you work with balsa, it's quite nice. Every now and then you do get a split, which is annoying, but that's the nature of working with balsa. But that's kind of cool. Straight line here. You can always work with a couple of cuts rather than just one, especially when you're cutting across the grain with balsa wood. Balsa wood is weird. I love balsa wood. It's really cool. It's a hardwood, but it's soft. I don't know how that works. I'm getting phoned. Somebody is phoning me. I'm not taking a phone call right now because I'm online. Nearly got it all cut out. So So I'm keeping all my little bits of spare balsa wood because they're going to get used later in the model. Okay, so here we go. On the other side. Well, yeah, okay. Well, it does rather depend on the drink, Jim. Yeah, I suppose so. But I'm drinking Diet Coke, so I'm not going to get drunk at all. But it's, well, I suppose it might only be like a sip of a pint. You know, that could keep you going all evening, couldn't it, really? But here we go. Whoops. Agrathea, builder of worlds there. Fat Oldie Gandalf trimming his own beard with his craft knife. Okay, so that's an interesting way to do it. Come on. It's tough stuff, this, Gary. Good evening, Anfield Road layout in the loft. That's a catchy handle. Okay, so here's 36 watching and 5 likes, can't we? Yeah, we're doing very nicely. I'll tell you what, Jim, I can't believe there are this many people who are actually watching, but yeah, it's cool. Feel free to go and shout about it in other places. So this balsa then sits like that, look, and that's kind of nice. That's going to sit on here, and because of where I've put the door, which is kind of annoying, I'm going to have to take a tiny little nick out of this wooden frame here just to make that fit there. But that's okay. That's all right. That's half the fun of scratch building your own stuff. So let's go there like that, and there like that. And what that's going to do is this is going to make a nice frame here. Now with balsa wood like this is quite chunky. I'm going to also just take a moment to trim down around the edges, take off the edges a little bit, weather that wood a bit on both sides. It just makes the model look nicer. And you can even draw into the balsa if you like. And this is again one of the nice things about balsa wood, working with it. You can do that, and it looks kind of cool. Just gives you a bit to work with. That's going to stick on here, and this guy's going to come over this side. So I'm going to do the same with him. Now there might be a bit of fiddling and fudging in a minute to make it all work and fit, and that's fine because this is not laser cut MDF, and this is not 3D printed resin or. Well, I'm very pleased that you're here, Mr. Anfield Road. Did you have a good day today? Did Liverpool lose in the end? I didn't see what the score was. It wasn't going very well. So that's that. I'm going to draw that in there. Draw this in here like this. That's nice. And then I'm going to apply some glue, actually. Product placement then. Yoo-hoo solvent-based adhesive. Works very well on the foam core and on balsa wood. So a bead of that glue on the back of this. It's pretty good. You get a really good tough bond, but you do get a few moments to kind of like shovel it around if you're not entirely happy with where everything is, which is kind of cool. Very much suits my kind of like scratch building method. And whoa, cool. Oh, good morning. Oh, from Australia. How cool is that? Other adhesives are available. You're right, Jim, but they're actually a pain in the ass to find when it comes to clear-based solvent. Hello, Lindsay. Watching in Australia. That's made my evening. Well, I mean, the whole thing is making my evening right now. I can't believe that people in the UK are watching, but Jesus, when people are getting up in Oz to watch, that's bloody ace. So, right, okay, we've got a little bit of trim that needs to be done here to make sure that fits together, but actually that works all right. Just a little bit. I need to trim down there. The problem when you use a template, of course, is the fact that then that makes it a little bit thicker when you're drawing around the lines and cutting out. So be prepared to make some adjustments. Is my simple and straightforward answer to that. But there we go. Getting in there. Not bad. one bit sticky out a bit too much still. So hand soloing at MCM next weekend, Jimmy. I think we're going to LFCC myself in November, but I don't know where I'm going to be in Star Wars kit. Right, okay, so there's my timbers on there, which is all right. And I now need to cut out one of these out of the same balsa wood. And that's going to go right up the middle. Unfortunately, I've managed to get my door located really nicely, so this should fit fine right up the middle. So I'm going to try and cut on the inside of this red one. Now the back of this building isn't going to need a central beam because I'm going to stick a chimney up the back of it. There we are. So again, let's take that, trim that down a little. Draw that in there. Hello, Matt. Good evening, mate. Nice to see you. Yeah, little cubs, they do that. It's a lot easier when they're all grown up, but you've got a few years before that happens. So, yes. Oh, do shut up, Jimbo, for God's sake. Just a bloke who messes around with cardboard in his office. It's not that much to shout about. It was kind of cool. Yeah, we went and had photographs with Tamara Morrison. It was kind of neat. Right, so look, there goes my central rafter, and that's because of the nature of everything else. That's sticking over just a tiny amount. I'm just going to trim off a tiny bit there. But that is the end of my building there, which then going to sit over the end. And the nice thing about it is the fact that that balsa sits nice. The foam core sits at the back of the XPS, and then the balsa sits at the front. Ta-da! That looks all right. I'm quite happy with that. Good. Okay, so we're going to move on to the back now. Whilst that was still drying, we're going to cut out two more rigid bits, but I'm also thinking now about a chimney right now. So I want the chimney on the back of this model. It's going to be about yay high because that's how big my fireplace is. Now I've got two choices here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out the easiest thing for me to do is to make the chimney, and then I'm going to make the walls. This is I'm thinking that chimney on the side is easier than chimney on the back, especially the way I'm thinking of doing it. But what the hell? We're going to make our chimney, and we're going to make it right. Okay, so for late arrivals, then, yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's just stop. This Anfield Road layout is what I'm making, or a version of, because this is a 28mm ish cottage for tabletop wargaming that comes apart quite nicely. So this is a scratch build kit. It's like Hello Fresh, but for scratch building your models, right? This is what we're doing. Let's just put this back on here for a minute. Here we go. For those of you who are late arriving. Oh, cool. Hello. Good evening. Is that NS Ogre or N Sogra in Kentucky in the US? How cool is this? People all over the world. So this is what we're producing. Look, this is our Hello Fresh, Magrathea and Fable Fae scratch building kit, right? You get everything in it that you need to make that model we're just looking at. But because it's scratch built, you can make it in a number of different ways. We are basically getting to the point where I am making this one slightly differently to the one before. So this model, chimney on the side with a little kind of like wood store with a little backyard behind it. This model, I want a chimney on the rear gable end. So it's a slightly bigger build. So I'm at the point now of making the chimney. And to answer, yes, Jim, we are going to be at Salute next year. And currently, the plan is to have 2 tables at Salute. One B&B and one possibly, most likely to be Carnivale, but you never know. Other things might happen in the meantime. So, what do I got? I could make... I want the chimney to be that tall. So I'm basically going to take my wall template and I'm going to cut out 2 1-inch wide bits of XPS foam, which are going to form my chimney on the back of the house. So what we're doing here, this one, those 2 together are going to form the chimney. Okay, so I need to texture these bits here. Hello, I've managed to snap that bit of polystyrene. That's not very helpful, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter one jot. So what we're going to do first of all, first off, this piece is going to be stuck up against the back wall, right in the middle, I hope. This piece is going to sit on that bit, so it doesn't need to be as tall. Now the choices with the chimney are stick it all to the base and then build the roof around it, or make it so that the chimney is part of the roof. Is also a possibility. What are the benefits either way around? The benefit either way around is the fact that if we make the chimney just part of the roof, the cool thing about that then is it just makes the whole thing a lot easier to lift off. In fact, I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do. I was about to do what I often do, which is basically make my life way more complicated than it needs to be. What I'm going to do, what we're going to end up using, okay, is I'm going to stick this bit of chimney. Where are we? I'm going to stick this bit of chimney to the roof. This bit of chimney to the roof. That's longer, isn't it? Yeah. Stick that to the gable end, right? Because that way there, and then what's going to happen is we're going to make, when we've got the roof assembled, we're going to cut another bit of chimney that's going to sit over the roof, and that will make the chimney nice and thick. But this will then all lift off, I think, as one part. I could either lift it all off as one part, or turn it this way around so I look at the camera. What I'll probably do is cut the chimney off at this height, so the roof will pop down and this bit of the chimney will just sit on top of the other bit of the chimney, and it will all be held in place by the door and the window at the other end. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. So with that in place, I'm drawing on the back here just so I can stick that in place there. But then I really need to do all the stonework. And the stonework, I need to texture down here and draw the stonework on it. More stonework needs doing. You create a thumbnail for your vlog. That sounds very painful. So, okay, here we go. Texture. It's got texture on there already. And then that's going to do that. So, drawing my stonework then onto the base of the outside of the chimney. And yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this the same height, bottom part, the same height as the low wall, which then will get cut off and stuck to the base. That way I can model things around the bottom, and that will be cooler. But the roof will lift off nice and easy, because that's what all my buildings have to do. Yeah, Jim, I tell you, mate, I can't tell you how disappointed that the Warlord have dropped Judge Dredd. I knew it was going to happen because of the sad demise of Paul Sawyer, because he was the guy who championed that license, the Rebellion license. But and it makes it really awkward to take a game like that to a show now. That's why we took it to Colours, but I don't really want to take it to other shows, because when people play our games at a show, they then go, "Where can I buy this game? It's really good fun." And with a game like Warlord, you're like, "Well, the problem with that, you see, is that they don't make it anymore, and you can't really go and buy it easy." So that's a bit of a bummer, really. Whereas, obviously, us playing Boroughs and Badgers was part of the impact that meant that Oathsworn did so well. Hopefully, at Salute, they certainly did very well. And us promoting their game there, playing that game that we love so much, meant that, you know, loads more people were likely to go over and check it out. So yeah, I am disappointed that Dread has died a death, especially as I now have a large collection of Dread figures and great scenery. But it doesn't stop us playing at home. And at some point, well, Jesus, if there was another me, I'd be playing games and writing back reps and all kinds of things for it, because it's such a cool game. The system's really good fun, and that's kind of, for me, half the fun of it is, you know, good systems as well. I like Boroughs and Badgers. Recently, we just bought Ark World, and that looks like a really fun system as well. So the actual playability of these games is really important. And when you take a game to a show, yeah, gutted really. Still, you know, the difficult thing is that, I mean, one of the reasons for taking Dread was I didn't want to be just the B&B guy. Although there's nothing wrong with that. And then when we decided we're taking Dread, I then bottled it, and especially when Michael said the second edition of B&B was coming out, we wanted to support that too. Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind of you. I like it with people sharing. That's very cool. So yeah, I'm delighted. 38 people online, which is really, really cool. And watching for a first go at this, I'm quite pleased so far. I mean, I never had any worries about the fact that could I talk non-stop bollocks for 2 hours or more, because, you know, it's what I do for a living. But nevertheless, it's kind of gratifying that there are folk who are online and watching me sit in my office and draw with a biro on a bunch of polystyrene foam. It's a bit weird, really. But I'm very pleased that nobody else has anything to do on a Sunday night apart from watch Timmy in his office. When was the last time I said whimsy? I don't think I said it for a while. Yeah, you're right, Harry. Good Dread was a great fun game to play. You know, Dread is the kind of game that there are lots of people who haven't played the game and don't play tabletops, but, you know, for old farts like me, it's part of our youth and growing up, and you know, it's in the conscience. And 2 movies in that we can all moan and complain about one way or another, some more than others, is all good as well. We're all hoping for that TV series. It's never going to happen. So it's a very difficult thing. But good morning, Mark in Sydney. I feel honoured that you dropped in just for 10 minutes before your working day starts. That's very, very cool. Yeah, this is the marvels. For an old fart like me, 54, and kind of like still marvels at the kind of like the world we live in. Yeah, the fact that we're online right now and there are people in Australia who are watching, and people in the United States who are watching, and all these people in the UK who are watching, I'm just absolutely blown away. It's really cool. My son has just gone and got himself a job working for an American games development company. He's now their content management, and he now has to kind of have meetings at strange times so he can be kind of like talking to other people around the world. It's just like, it's nuts, this world we live in now. I'm super pleased for him. Right, okay, so that, look, there's my Chimbly, and that goes on the back of the building here. So what I want to do now is get that in the right place and stuck on. So I'm going to run a bead of glue up the middle, Come on, Mr. Glue. Here we go. All right. I'm going to spread that around a little bit. Park my gable end on the end of my building. This one is going to go right to the end of it. And I'm going to stick the chimney on there like that. Stick, stick, stick. Stick, stick, stick. Yeah, I'm going to be 55 next February, Mark. But, you know, it's cool. I'm yeah, gobsmacked. Well, to be honest, Nick, painting, part of the idea of doing this, paint your B&B long-eared owl while I'm whittling in the background, part of the idea of doing this, hopefully, is that some people will find the time to do some hobby stuff while I'm doing hobby stuff. It's kind of cool, really. So, yeah, I'm not at all insulted by the fact that you can't be asked to watch me do my thing. You know, yeah, I'm fine. It'll be all right. Okay, so now I've got to work out how the frack I'm going to do this bit, which is like do the rest of the chimney on the inside, or round, at least around the curve of the roof. It's going to be that high. I'm going to take it inside the building. Actually, that's the easiest way to do it. Take it inside the building. I could just make an entire sound. Yeah, but then that bit there is not, doesn't join up, does it? So yeah, that. Excellent. See, that was the whole point. Do hobby whilst hobby is happening. That's cool. And yeah, right. Okay. So, all right. Okay. No. We're good. We're good. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my template. I'm going to place it on this bit of chimney, and I'm going to cut out that bit of chimney there. Like that. Right. Taking much care not to stick knife in hand. And then hopefully that is going to slot on top of making scatter terrain for B&B. Nice. My plans to do some hobby. All right. Okay. Cool. Oh, bless you. Making it. Look at that. That's good. Zach's doing hobby as well. It's really, really neat. I really like it. Matt's not doing hobby because he's got a little kid who's got to make a birthday card for mummy, which I respect a lot. Because frankly, mate, there are services who'll just send you that kind of shit nowadays, aren't they? Right, okay, so look, we're going to stick that on. Oh, forgot to do the texturing. Again. How are we doing for time? 20:53. Hands up, everybody thinks I'm going to be finished by 9:30. Nah. Right, okay. Glue on the back. Go. That's fine. It's mainly not going to get done by 9:30 because of the faffing and the gassing rather than the actual hooking. Okay, chimney in place. Right. I'm going to do brickwork on that, but I'm going to leave that to dry for a minute. While we're doing that, see now what I've got is I've got my chimney on my end wall, and I need to cut out. I need to cut the woodwork, but I'm going to leave all this to dry for a minute. Yeah, I've often cut myself. If you're new to me, Anfield Road, I have cut myself a number of times on my videos, but never live. Normally, when there's nobody else in my family up to administer first aid either, so, or in my wife's case, to give me grief for doing it. Oh no, Jim has lost power in his workshop. Disaster. That's not cool. Right, okay, so look, I'll tell you what, while I'm doing that, I'm waiting for this to glue. This cardboard is going to make the roof. Is that going to make two bits of roof? I'd rather think it is. So I'm going to use one bit of cardboard. I'm going to cut. See, I bloody knew it. Earlier I said I'm going to need scissors. And what I haven't got out here is scissors. Right, I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. I'm going to make a stone floor to go inside my house like this. Right, okay, so hoping that I've got enough cardboard. Should have enough cardboard. If I haven't got enough cardboard, somebody else's fault. Right, okay, so good God, look at that. That's wicked. Almost like this was planned. Well done, Gary and Harry. Look at that. A perfect sized piece of cardboard. About that big. Yeah, man, I know. I've seen your watch calligraphy. It's really nice. Yeah. Yeah, I understand your problems. Right, okay, so this is making the floor inside the house. Simple and straightforward. I'm cutting rectangles of cardboard. I have not measured them. I'm doing them with different sizes and kind of like thing. I've actually measured this out so it's the same width as the actual building, but that doesn't matter too much because they won't be when I stick them in. So I'm actually going to trim off a tiny little bit of excess here to give me a bit of space. Like that. And then what I'm going to do is, again, I'm going to make move them over to one side. Cool, look at that. Nicely. So, what do we got? I know that we have Australia represented by a couple of folk, and also we've got the odd American cousin online. Is everybody else in the UK? Would you just drop on where you are? If you're in the UK, give me a bit more of an idea. Are you north, south? Are you, give us a county or a kind of city or something else. Let me know where you're watching from. It's always kind of interesting from my point of view. It's kind of cool. There we go. We're nearly there now. All those. One more strip of that. Bricktop. Hello, Bricktop. Nice to see you. Thank you very much. Mrs. Crockett is in Weston-super-Mare. South London. Yeah, I know you are. Zach's in the Fens. No, there's no wonder you're watching then, is it, really? Because there's fuck all else to do up there. That's nice. Gravesend. Look, all these people. Hello, Andrew JF. Nice for you to be there. And Dr. Vesuvius is in Manchester. That's cool. This is just, yeah. Rob Langland's in Weston-super-Mare as well. Yeah, it's all good. Yeah. Nice. Oh, the power. All these people watching me just sitting here doing this. I'm still here, by the way. It's still me. But it's kind of like, it's all right. Is it all right? Are we doing all right? I mean, this is the first time I've done this. It's different than kind of like videoing kind of like by myself when I video things and I can turn things off and I press stop and swear a lot and then cut that bit or not bother doing that anything kind of thing. So, yeah. Anyway, look, back down here. Right, go. That kind of works. Right, so what do we got? We've got floor tiles. We've got house. We got... I could use a number of different glues here, frankly. See that? Gorilla Glue's nicely stuck down now. Yoo-hoo, go. Just run it up and down. Chuck in stone floor. These are the simple bits, but it really does make a hell of a difference. It's no secret to anybody who's watched my channel how much I'm not into the painting of the model side of things. I get bored after a while. I think it's probably my ADHD brain. I've kind of like built the model, it's done, I want it on the tabletop. So anything to aid the actual painting process, and made floor tiles like this really does help aid the painting process because it gives you something you can work with. Here we go, cut that last one to fit. Of course, there was no point in starting with a piece of cardboard that was the same length as the building because you want a gap in between each floor thingy because otherwise it doesn't flipping work, We want that texture. Here we go. A bit more there. Yeah, Gary, I know. Oh, yeah, exactly. Adrian Tompkinson is in Stoke and Chris Kerr is in Cambridgeshire. Nice one. Excellent. Cool. And Anfield Road, I take it. I like painting. Yeah, see, painting's all right, and it's that kind of thing. But you just get to the point where I just get impatient now, and I just want it done and finished. I've got too many ideas, and I want to be working on the next kind of model. So I just want somebody else just to constantly be painting my figures. It's just easy that way, and my models. But unfortunately, I have to do it myself a lot of the time. Saying that, I have lucked out with the Oak Meister when it came to painting all my Just Dredd figures for me. And one day, I really, really, really need to conquer an airbrush. My wife's been airbrushing a costume for the Halloween party that I'm running. Have I mentioned that? I'm running a Halloween party. For those of you who don't know, not that it matters anymore, because not like I can get tickets, but I'm going to be a bit distracted in the next week or so. I have got some models to be getting on with, but I'm running the biggest event I've ever run in my life on Halloween this year, which is kind of cool. I have the honour and pleasure of running a vampire ball at the Natural History Museum, which is a massive sellout. I'm not actually sure how many tickets sold out. They sold 1,500 tickets before the end of September. They had sold it out, and they were talking about adding some more tickets. So from that point of view, it's kind of exciting. I'm very excited about Halloween this year, but subsequently, it's going to be a bit of a distraction from getting other things done. Not half as much as Christmas is going to be, though, because Christmas is super busy already. Hello, Paul in North Dorset. Thank you for joining me. Now, I know that Anfield Road here, then, my new friend, Anfield Road, is a model railway maker. I know that many of you, Jimbo, for example, who likes Dredd, but also is a big kind of like B&B fan. And I know that Gary's seen that, and I'm very much a... oh, hello, Jim from Burton-on-Trent in the Midlands as well. Where am I Santaing this year, or is it not public knowledge? Look, Matt, look on the Halloween ball front, yeah, next year, get yourself a babysitter, and I'll get you added to my guest list. I personally, I have 4 Father Christmases working for me this year. Well, I haven't. Father Christmas is the own bloke, but I will be representing Father Christmas in South London, actually, Matt. I will be at the Old Royal Naval College in Greenwich, which is a lovely, lovely place to do Father Christmas. So from that point of view, if you can, bring your little nipper, come and say hello. There are going to be some special sessions, I think, for little ones, as opposed to, but otherwise we're doing. Oh, we just check out their website. I can't remember, but we are totally doing, Father Christmas at the Old Royal Naval College. We absolutely have Father Christmas at the Natural History Museum this year as well, like we did last year. And Aldy End in Essex, and Kenwood House on Hampstead Heath. Busy. So I am, it's about to get festive nonsense madness. In fact, I'm also doing some. Well, you able to get my salute? Oh, well, it's funny you should mention that, Gary. I'm working on that. I was going to say to people this evening, actually, I was going to mention, because I need to do an order for T-shirts. So I haven't, but I'm going to. It's a simple answer, Gary. There are, for those of you watching who have a bend for that kind of thing, as you can see, I am wearing my Now That's Whimsy T-shirt, which is one of my favourite shirts, because it's got me doing whimsical things. That's 2 more whimsy. That's three now. But we also have a number of other. This ended up being a T-shirt design. The Digging Through the Cat one was the first T-shirt design. That was done for Salute. Cool. Well, it must have been 4 years ago now, because I've got several other T-shirt designs. And what I did was, I brought this in. On the back of this figure case, there are all 4 designs that we have for Magrathea T-shirts. Now That's Whimsy, which is this one. Digging Through the Cat, which is the original one. Drock, That's Whimsy, which is Salute 2025 t-shirt, which Gary Guy has ordered and I haven't sorted out for him. And a Ho Ho Ho, now I have a Proxon Christmas Die Hard t-shirt. So it's actually 3 salutes that we've been doing that. If you would like to order a Magathea Builder Wells t-shirt, you are more than welcome. All you would need to do is shout me. Probably best place will be on my Facebook page, and we can sort that out. I can't remember how much they are. I'm crap at this kind of thing, you see. I'd have to guess. You can have a look. They're on my Facebook page anyway, but there they are. So these are the 4 t-shirts. They're going to put that up there. One day I might get myself organised to have some kind of like online shop type thing, but hell, that's complicated. But they're kind of neat. These are all drawn for me by my friend Ben, and I just kind of like go, I need it. Or this one, this one is. I had to explain to him what a Proxon was when I wanted this, and this was just for kind of a laugh. And this year, I just said to him, look, I need a t-shirt with Judge Dredd and Burrows and Badgers and me. So from that point of view. So Gary, have you got the other 3? Have you got a Proxon one? Yeah. So here we go. So these are those shirts. And they are available through my Facebook page. Anyway, back to the bill. Right. Okay. Well. Nick, drop me a size, and I'll get you one ordered because I've got to get one ordered for Gary anyway. Right. So look, here we are. Here now, that's the floor inside the model. That's super easy to do. Anybody can do that. Now we're doing quite well. Did you just call me a bell end, Lorraine? Oh no, bell tent. Bell tent. Good, right. Yeah, that's kind of coming on. So look, here we are. I'm going to put the camera back down, like that. Like that. No, like that. Get the fuck up there. Oh, God, this dude is such an amateur. What's he doing? Right, okay, so look, here's our building so far. We now have that end there, which is looking good. And we've got this end here with the chimney, which hasn't quite stuck fully together. Could do with a pin holding it together, actually. That's a good idea, Tim. Why don't you do that? Good idea. There's a chimney on there. I need to draw on that, but that's okay. So that's going to sit on that end. And what we're going to do is we're going to, definitely cut off the base of the chimney here and stick it down the floor. And then that way that would just sit on top of that, which is cool. Okay, so if we also do that, I can then get on with building the rest of the structure of the roof, which is the important and tricky part. I'm noticing that I haven't got my chimney central on my fucking... Okay, so... I'll try to measure it, but all I need to do is that. 2 cuts. Jolly good. Right, okay, so glue on here, glue on the base, glue. Going to get a pin because I want to hold this in place. Roof on, with a chimney underneath. Stick pin through polystyrene. Thanks for watching, Adrian. Got to pick Junior up from the pub. All the best. I hope Junior's old enough to be drinking. Right, okay, so that's stuck in place, and that's there. Well, that's cool. Okay, so that is not sticking very well at the top. I'm also, while I'm going to be here, actually, putting these pins into this kit was a brilliant idea, because they do make a big difference when you're holding this kind of stuff together. So I'm sticking a pin right through that. I've got to be careful because it's sticking out the other side, right there, where I'm liable to put my finger on it. But, you know, hey ho. Good. Right. Okay. So that's now going to dry. That's kind of cool. So while I'm doing that, I now am going to cut out 2 bits of balsa to do these 2 end beams here. because they are going to cause me a little bit of a problem because of my cutting plan. One, it doesn't matter too much about the top end because the top end ain't going to get last anyway. But okay, so roughly speaking, needs to be a vertical line kind of up there-ish. You getting that? We are getting that. Okay, so this is where we experiment a little bit. And I know this is the kind of thing that actually is likely to put people off scratch building rather than making a kit, because you've got to be prepared to fudge it a little bit. But, yeah. Cut that back a bit more that way. That's going to do that there, look. That'll be all right. So let's just trim that down. Wow. Oh, look at that. 43 people online at this point here. 9:10. Here's another question for you, because, you know, I mean, I was reading things. Oh, you can set up polls, all kinds of stuff, but I don't know. I'm just asking people, is this a good time for people to do this kind of thing? Obviously, it works for me, but, you know, and you know, there are other guys who have been watching from all around the world. Was this a suitable time when you saw this was going to happen? Did you think, oh, cool, that really suits me? Cool. Okay. Yeah, these ones are 20 quid. Yeah. Thanks, Harry. What about the others? Yeah, they've got instructions for that kind of thing, Matt, you know. But yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it is. This is the absolute fudger's dream then, this model. But yeah, it's working out right. Look, there we go. That goes in there. I'm going to cut out another one of these. Those of you who have arrived late and didn't see my introduction, part of the cool thing about this kit, and the reason why it's possible to do this, is because we're including this set of templates that Harry and Gary have designed, because that way they're the easiest bit. So we've got this gable end, and we've got this one rafter, and somewhere we've got that central beam as well, plus this wall template. Now, the cool thing with these is the fact that when you're done with this kit, here it is, here's the other bit, you can easily get yourself more XPS foam or foam board and use them again and make more, which is kind of cool. The other models that are going to be coming, excellent. So the very kind of like positive response to that so far is, yeah, this kind of suits. Obviously, it kind of suits you all because you're watching, as opposed to the people who aren't watching who it doesn't suit. But, you know, yeah, the other kits will come with slightly different size templates and bits and pieces, because we're planning on making slightly different size models. But yeah, well, which is kind of cool. Right, so look, I'm going to cut that bit out there. Cut that one off. Bottom bit off there. Cool, excellent. Oh, well, I'm pleased that this is it seemed to make sense when I decided I was going to do this. It seemed to make sense that Sunday night. If the pups are missing me, no, mate, they're fast asleep. Heidi's in the living room anyway. Now, the pups missed us more last week. We went to Disney last week. Thanks, Bricktop. I'm glad you enjoyed it. We went to Heidi and I had a cheeky 48 hours in Disneyland Paris last week, which, apart from anything else, meant I've now got another Wild West building to build from a 40mm build, because I took more photographs of another one of the buildings in Frontierland. So that's kind of cool. Right, cool. Okay, we're not sure on the right, first one. What's this space for pricing on the other kits then, people? Is the answer to that. There we go. Yeah, in fairness to Harry saying we haven't worked out what the price of the other kits are, that is fair because I haven't designed them out of the models yet, so we don't actually know what's going to go in them. So I suppose it's a little bit optimistic to say that we'd have a price, really. My bad, H. Okay, look, there we go. That's that nice. Stick that there. Okay, so the important bit about this now, and I haven't done the stonework on the chimney yet, the backside of this chimney, is I want to get on with actually making the roof. So I'm going to give this a moment or two just for that glue to go off. What I am going to do is I'm going to use, that's the bit I cut out for the door. That I'm going to, I think, use as the top of the chimney. So I'm going to, whilst that's just going off, get my bit of polymer tinfoil, texture around the edges. Like that. I'm then going to draw in the central part of the chimney, which I'm about to cut out. But I'm going to do some bricks on here first. 2 loads of bricks. I mean, I think this is quite a fast model to make compared to some. I mean, it is only a small cottage, mind you, but what I'm aiming for, again for folk who didn't see the introduction, is for people to feel confident enough to build their own buildings and make their own tabletop that's full of whimsy and have the satisfaction of building your own build, whilst also not wasting an absolute ton of money on excessive amounts of resources, because we're supplying you with pretty much everything you need to make the models. But then I'm also hoping that in some ways people will only buy a certain number of models with us before they feel confident enough to go off and do their own thing. So look, let's just cut that out. All right. Again, taking care not to stick sharp knife into thumb. Always a top tip, that one, everybody. Don't go sticking sharp knives into your thumbs too often, although most of us have done it more than once. Doesn't look pretty on the underside, but that's fine. I don't think we're going to make ourselves obsolete, Matt. But my aim is. Harry might disagree with me because he's the one doing all the legwork. But more than anything else, what I want is gamers to enjoy all aspects of the hobby, and this is the aspect of our hobby that I enjoy the most. Obviously, I've never made a secret of that. But also, it is one that is harder, I think, to access than some bits of the hobby because there are loads and loads of painting pages and groups and sites and things and tutorials and apps, and I just don't think there is in the same way with model making. And I love the joy of having my own table and then playing somebody else who has the joy of having their own table. And it doesn't have to be like that for everybody, but it's I think the absolute nature of what we're doing with these templates and bits and pieces means that people are going to feel encouraged to go away and make other things with them. So, but I'm kind of cool with that. Right, okay, so look, now that's nearly stuck enough to be doing it right. So what we need to do now, before I worry about drawing, it'll be easier to, what we need to do now is draw the stonework on, because it's easier to do it before I've got an entire roof in front of me, right? So I'm just going to bear with, do this like that, across there like that. Right, now thank you for bearing with me while I kind of like do this little experiment of live streaming, doing a thing. I'm sure that there will be various people in the next few days who will only be too happy to give me feedback on how I did it and what setup I should be using and all this kind of stuff. I am a bit of an old fuddy-duddy when it comes to technology, not as much as some, but I wouldn't. Fuddy-duddy's not right. I'm totally happy to embrace it, but I am a bit of a reluctant learner, user, and I want to learn how to do this stuff. And I've always avoided. I've had a number of people say, "Have you got a Discord? And do you do this and do you do that?" It's taken me 5 years to get to a point where I'm feeling that I want to. Harry's in with me. Bless him. Love him. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure that going forward, if we decide we're going to do more of these, and I'm pretty sure that just from the nature of this evening, I think that's going to be the case. Because apart from anything else, actually, this is in some ways more convenient for me than making actual straight up videos, because that's very time consuming. Whereas I can just get on here and waffle away and make a model at the same time. Are there other things that you'd like to see me build live out of interest? What are you into? You guys who are watching, are you all B&B players, or do you play other games? What other things would you like me to be building live? What would you think would be a cool thing that I could do on a Sunday evening? I wouldn't have to get the whole thing completed, mind you. But, is there something else you think, that'll be a bloody good thing? I'd like to see how he went about doing that. Yeah, I do like the hanging out nature of this, to be quite honest, Jim. You're absolutely right. The thing about tabletop gaming is a lot of what we do can be quite solitary. Biggest issue, storing the train, I mate. Well, mate, yeah, and then you shouldn't come up with stupid ideas like, let's build a tavern made around a tree, because that wasn't easy to store at all, was it? But right, okay, so look, there's my two ends. Now the complicated bit now is I've got to build the roof. Well, it's not complicated. All I have to do first of all is make a beam. I'm going to cut out now. I'd like to do a stream with Michael. If I could persuade Michael Lovejoy to get on, I'd like Michael to just come on, and we could do an interview with him from a B&B point of view. Yeah, I don't sculpt miniatures. God, I'm not that talented. I work with flat bits of cardboard. Michael sculpting models like Michael Lovejoy does. Jesus, that's like witchcraft as far as I'm concerned. The man's a goddamn genius. But right, okay, so here we go. Right, here's the next plan. I'm going to take my foam core. Hope it's long enough. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut out 3 lengths of foam core that is basically going to form the rafters from one end to the other. Although, by the looks of things, dead man's hand, Wild West for you guys. Now, like I said, Rob, I've got because obviously I made that dead man's hand model for you. Cool. Okay, so so I am going to be making another Wild West building for my Wild West town, which I suppose could be Dead Man's Hand, which would be quite interesting. So I'm going to make a rafter for the top of this out of XPS foam. which is going to go one into the other to support the roof. What is it, Dr. Vesuvius? Do you watch other live streams? I don't watch live streams. People ask me about my YouTube channel. I don't really watch other people's YouTube channels. I watched a few, but okay. So look, I've cut that. This is going to oh wow, cool. Okay, yeah, that will be quite neat. Something for Gaslands actually. That would be an interesting challenge. So this is going to be the raft that's going to hold my two bits of roof apart from each other. So I'm going to stick that on there. I'm going to pin that, and I'm going to make another couple of bits. I'm going to stick one on, and then I need to really stick a couple down the bottom. But the other thing is I want to, how do we do the roof on this one? Yeah. So yeah, what we're going to do, so we're going to do. We need to build the inside of the roof. So you can see here, I've got foam core. I'm going to use XPS on this model. We're going to make 3 rafters. They're going to hold the 2 ends apart, and then we can put the roof on. I mean, I do. Thanks, Nick. That's a very kind thing to say. I like the kind of, community kind of feel we got here. I love the fact that other people are doing hobby while I'm doing mine. It's kind of neat. Okay, let's stick that. There we go. Okay, so I've stuck that. I now need to find a pin. Where are my pins? Here are my pins. Well, to be quite honest, Dr. Vesuvius, I'm staggered that I've got all these people watching me this evening. It's lovely. I'm absolutely blown away. You know, the most we've had on any one time, I think it was about 40 odd, which is amazing. And okay, I've got glue on that end already. Just cracking up a bit there. Bing! Like that. Okay. Pin through the end. How are we doing, yeah? Funny, I mean, it's interesting, Matt. I have not made any 40k. I mean, obviously, I've made Necromunda stuff, but I haven't made any 40k stuff on my channel because I mean, I don't play 40k, so the reason why I haven't made 40k scenery. But I reckon I'd have a much bigger following if I did play 40k and had made 40k scenery. But right, let's cut out 2 more bits of XPS. So I'm going to drop them in as well. Build a barrow mound based around that barrow. Well, barrow mounds are easy peasy. In fact, right, yeah, cool, okay. Yeah, I'd never consider that actually, Dr. Vesuvius. That's a nice way of putting it. We've got various people who are chatting and joining in, but it's not going absolutely bonkers. I'm not having to deal with everybody. Yeah, you're right, Gary. Time has flown by. I mean, it's now 2 hours in, and I thought, I'll be done in 2 hours. Totally not, but you know, I'm happy. I'm going to keep going because I want to get this model made. But, so there we go. That's getting stuck in that then. That's getting stuck in that side like that. I need to get some pins in there as well. Oh, if I tell you what, Robert, if I could get my hands on one of those classic stick deodorants, I probably would as it goes. I think of for horse heresy and road trade type stuff, isn't it? Pin. Roof. Oh, 2 pins there. Fucking fuck. Fucking polystyrene collapsing. We have polystyrene collapse. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Pins going through bolster. Check. Painting and collecting is absolutely fine, mate. Do you build terrain to go with your collection of figures? I mean, I'm not surprised that people will just buy the B&B figures and collect and paint them because they are fabulous. Really, really lovely models. It's always been one of the things that's always appealed to me about that game is the quality of the figures are ridiculous. That and the fact that the game's very playable, and then and then you meet Michael Lovejoy, who's just frustratingly nice. One of these people where the whole thing deserves support. And again, I've had so much joy out of Burrows and Badgers, and so much joy out of the community, the people here. Strange enough, build a tavern. Yeah. The B&B community is one of the friendliest groups of people I've known online and from a gaming point of view. Oh, shit, missed that completely. Which is kind of cool. Right, okay, so look, I've now got a roof with 3 XPS struts that are basically holding the roof in place while I do the next bit, which is add cardboard. All right, so my cardboard is going to go across here. Interestingly, oh balls. Right, okay, so I shouldn't have floored this until I made the roof because I've cut up my cardboard wrong, which is going to make it awkward. But hey ho, fortunately, we can do something about that. See, if I'd done that and thought about that sensibly in the first place, I would have had plenty of offcuts. The idea of this model was you'll have enough stuff to do everything with, and you do have enough stuff to do everything with if you have worked out. If you have worked out what order you're going to do things in, and I bloody well didn't, and now I'm going to look stupid, aren't I? So here we go. Okay, so here's what is happening. I'm taking my remaining piece of cardboard that I haven't turned into roof to floor. A run down backwards still. Are you talking Wild West there, Paul? Are we talking kind of rickety wooden structure a la Frontierland in Disneyland? Because I'm totally up for doing that. Okay, so here's my one bit of wood, a roof, which is going to stick on here. Apart from the fact that I'm a knob and I've knackered the other end. Now that's fine. That's going to do that all right. And what I need to do is work out what's not going to be roof. And what I'd suggest to you kids is you don't work like I do and don't make such a damn mess of things. Keep your workspace tidy. Okay, so I'm just going to cut out a bit that's going to go around the chimney. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, because this hopefully, put that way around. Fit around here, glue on, and that'll do real nice. Really good. Look. That's going to do that like that. Okay, so Yoo-hoo down here, Yoo-hoo onto the balsa and the XPS foam onto the foam board. It will eat some of the polystyrene in the foam board, but that's fine. We're going to, can I tip that back a little bit? Oh, look, that's a better angle. Now you can see my belly. How I measure around the chimney. Yeah, basically, Gary, what I did, look, I've changed the angle of the dangle. Does that make a difference? I literally placed my cardboard on one end and then just kind of like fudged it, drew around it as I went. So what I've got now is I've got glue on both bits of those, which you probably didn't see me do. Get glue everywhere now. Put your lid back on the glue tin. Easier said than done. Where is the lid for the fucking glue tin? Put my beard out of the way from it. Pins, 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 pins. Here we go. Now what we're doing is we are sticking a pin through the cardboard into the foam core to hold the roof in place. This is the main reason why I wanted pins, but actually the pins have been super useful throughout this building process. In fact, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to extract. I'm running out of pins. I've got a couple left lying around on my workbench. Actually, I'm not running out of pins yet. I'm not running out of pins yet. I will have stuck them in my finger in a minute, mate. Ah, shit, there goes one now. Okay, so look, there goes. Pin into the foam core, holding that roof in place. You need to pin because the cardboard doesn't naturally take the shape of the roof. So another pin in there will be really useful. And I will end up, I think, taking the pins out of my XPS foam walls, but now they're properly stuck in place. So that's fine. This cardboard's pretty tough stuff. Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. Okay. So there's my pin gone in there and there, and that's now going to hold that onto the shape. That's really cool. Okay, happy with that. That's good. Now I need to do the same on the other side. If I had a piece of cardboard that was the right freaking size. Prancing Pony model for the yeah. See, Prancing Pony for Middle Earth, Jim, actually is a bit problematic because you're right. I really want to do one, but also it's going to take flipping ages. So I'm going to cheat for the Prancing Pony. I'm going to. I've got a tabletop weld in that I'm using for the Prancing Pony. And I've got a really, really cool thing for I've got a really, really cool thing for Bywater. Yeah. I'm still rattling away. Right, okay, so another bit of cardboard. Cut that off there. And take my template because I can then work out how much of this I need. Cut my roof out of. Right, so Gary, as you missed it last time because I was working at a different angle, we're going to do this again now. You're still watching? Okay, of course you're still watching. I hope you're still watching. So here's my roof. Here's my bit of cardboard. And I literally, all I did was I kind of offered it up to the model. Went short with it. So kind of measured to kind of there. Like that, yeah. And then I'm going to put it across the whole thing and work out where the edge of the chimney goes in there. And then I'm just going to cut that rectangle out. Actually, the biggest challenge with doing this evening, part of this was to kind of, so I've got a reference so I can write the instructions for this kit, and actually encouraging people to be courageous and doing their thing. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. Now, the nice thing about the roof, I'm taking the card and giving it a bit of a bend so it will sit better on here. Glue down there. Glue right down here. And also I'm going to run a bead of glue across the top because hopefully they'll join. Now, it doesn't matter if you've been messy at this point with the glue on the roof because we're going to tile the whole thing anyway. I think, folks, what I'm not going to do is make you sit through me tiling the whole of this roof, because even with these brilliant laser cut tiles that we've got, it takes a little while. So look, stick that in place there like that. I'm going to stick at the top. I'm going to root around on my desk now because I know I've got a couple of pins spare. There's one. Stick that down into the polystyrene. Hold that in place. There's another pin kicking around. I would have, if I'd been sensible, I would have kept them on that neat little polystyrene block that I got all my pins in. But I didn't. I made a mess of it because I'm a messy so-and-so, and now I can't pick them up. Whereas if they'd been stuck in that neat little block, I would have been able to just peel them out one at a time. So I'm going to stick this one in here. Like that. Rock and roll. And there, my friends, is our roof. Okay, so now, door frame in place. I could probably stick that in now, to be quite honest. Because it's just going to keep falling over otherwise. The proof is in the pudding and in the eating. And what's nice is that fits. I've got this little step here at the back, which is fine because I'm going to put a little set of tiles on that, on the chimney. Actually, going to move that back a little bit, which is all good. There we are. Here is our building then. 2 hours, 10 minutes. Well, I didn't, because I didn't start actually making it until about 10 to 8. So in less than 2 hours, I'm at this point. This point now is the point where we have to start wielding tiles. Now, roof tiles, I love individual roof tiles on a model. I really do. It's my favourite way of putting tiles on a building. It's sitting down, cutting up my cereal boxes and making individual roof tiles. The only problem with that, you can't see what I'm doing. The only problem with that is it takes flipping hours. And again, is the kind of thing that is likely to put somebody off scratch building their own models to start off with. So I'm fortunate that my mates, Harry and Gary, have mastered, or started to master anyway, because when they get going, God help us, the laser cutting of roof tiles. These are quite large. You can buy, and you've seen me make models with laser cut roof tiles from other people like Warbases. Warbases ones are quite small. They're probably more 28, 25 mil. And anyway, my B&B models, which are whimsical, the whole point of them is that they're more, not so much tiles, more shingles, I suppose. So look, what we're going to do is we're going to start putting them on this here roof. I'm going to get the model, I'll stick it there like that. And the cool thing about these is the fact that you can get them on damn quick. You work from the bottom up. I'm using all-purpose adhesive here because it speeds up the whole process. You basically go for a whole strip. I tend to start one end. I hang my tiles over the end. Job's a good one. I'm now going to run a strip of glue back the other way and over the edge of those tiles. Yeah. Where are we? Gary Guy, I've got the One Ring RPG system. I kickstarted it. And I don't even really play RPGs these days, but I do love Lord of the Rings and all that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's kind of cool. And Anfield Road, you're completely right. I love to make individual tiles and take my time with it too, but sometimes it's a bit fiddly and it can get a bit annoying. And you can do kind of cool things with it, and you can make different size tiles, and you can. In fact, I'm probably doing this the wrong way. I'm going to a quick experiment here. I've never done this way before, but it just popped into my head. I'm basically going to run a string of glue all the way across the back of that tile and just lay it on. Now, this is bloody awkward from a model making point of view and a filming point of view because you can't really see what I'm doing. But look, you can see how quickly they're going on. They're going on real quick. And what I'll end up doing is just cutting off at each end. Now, this is a challenge. There should be enough. And this is a bit of an experiment because I haven't made a roof this long. There should be enough tiles in this to be able to tile the whole of this roof this way. There certainly wasn't the last roof, but this is even quicker than it was before. All right. Okay, so you can see how quick this is going up there. The only problem with this big gable-ended roof like this is, yeah. Campaign train, totally with you. Yeah, it's exactly it. I prefer single ones, but the amount of buildings you make, you could spend an awful lot of time. These are nice size shingles, these. I like them. They're good. We spent a little while just trying to come up with the ideal size. And I think Gary and Harry have done a really cool job with this. It is a damn sight quicker than cutting individual tiles. And yeah, I mean, all right, they're not quite as irregular, but at the end of the day, it still makes a cracking thing when they're all on the table. They look terrific. So from that point of view, cool. And this is where I'm going to suffer now, not having a pair of scissors out here. You would have thought I would have had a pair of scissors out here in my office. But I'll have to have a look in my office drawer. Okay. How's the sound now, everybody? Is it better than it was at the start? Have I kind of conquered that? I don't know if I've got the Moria book. For those of you who don't know what Gary and I are talking about, this is the One Ring, Lord of the Rings role playing. It's kind of cool. I kickstarted this, the starter set, and actually most of us, my mates are all, well, Harry's a role player, but everybody else is tabletop gamer. So I haven't even used it. Look, it's all kind of like a book about the Shire. And so you reckon the one about Moria is worth having, Gary? Yeah. Did I ever get around to you basing those scout troopers I painted you? They're in the pile, mate. As you noticed, I haven't done very much with Star Wars recently. Hey, that's a really cool, good idea of getting rid of actually all my old. I want new business cards, actually. Matt, thanks for that, because I could get rid of all my old business cards and get new ones. I've got too many business cards. It's a bit of a pain. I've got one for events and one for. Excellent, cool, okay. All right. Look at that. Coming on. All right. So, oh shit. Here we go. I'm debating what to do. I could just keep rattling on while I do this roof, but now you've got an idea of what we're doing with these tiles. I could finish that off afterwards. Yeah, see, it was worth you coming along, Matt, this evening just for that suggestion. Nice one. Cut the rest of this sheet. Okay, so this is all right, cool. Okay, Anfield Road says carry on, so I'm carrying on. I mean, I said I'd do this for 2 hours, but that's because I had no idea how long A, this was going to take, and B, how long people were prepared to stick it out with me. But it is only 9:30, so from that point of view, let's peel all those out of there. It's getting harder and harder to get it over here, actually, Campaign Terrain. These are my Yoo-hoos, made in Germany. You can't go out and get it, but I buy it in large quantities whenever I can, although I can buy it on Amazon. Right, cool. Okay, so look, here we go. More glue on here. This one's going to take out now. I've got to get into a fiddly point now because I've got to start working my way around the chimney in a second. But that's fine. What we're going to do is we're going to lay this one on. This one isn't going to take me around the chimney. But I think the next one is. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go over this side. I might have to cut down. Yeah, because it's going to go here. I'm going to put this one on here, and then I'll work around the chimney in a minute. I think is my simple solution to that. Go on the back of that. You can order it but not pick it up. Oh, I order it but not pick it up local. Yeah, cool. I see what you mean. Yeah. I've just started ordering mine online, getting 10 tubes at a time. Can I not lift the roof off, Tim, and just stick the shingles on the trim and fit it back on? Now the roof comes off, but yeah, because I can fit this. It doesn't need to be sitting on the base now. Although I had it sitting on the base originally, Jim, so I could get the tiles hanging over the edge, and I want to on the other side. But if you want, yeah, I'll tell you what, Gary, I'll get your T-shirt ordered, and when your T-shirt's in, you can come pick it up. And you can drop the memorial book round to me. That'd be really cool. Thank you. Right, okay, so I'm nearly there now. I was worried that we weren't going to have enough. Tiles, and part of this build this evening was experimenting with the kit, see what we can do. But I think we're okay, and we are going to have enough tiles. But although what I need to do there is cut one in half. Look at that. It's starting to look pretty neat. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got about 6 rows of tiles left, which is enough. That's good news. I said 2 sheets would be enough to do this. I was rather blasé about that, but actually, I'm bloody right. Hurrah. Okay, so I'm just working up around the chimney now. Let's get that off the building. Do what Jim says. Makes a lot of sense. Glue, glue, glue. Sheet, sheet, sheet. Tiles, tiles, tiles. 2 more rows, I reckon. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with this. Nice. 2 more rows of tiles. We'll have to do the other side. Yeah, so the to individual tile or to strip tile, obviously individual tiles look gorgeous. Strip tiles are quick. Still look better than a lot of other roofs. The other thing we're talking about doing for these sets is doing a thatched option, where we'll supply you with rectangles of teddy bear fur as opposed to roof thatch. Which would be kind of cool. Fuck that up. Whoops. Peeled that bit off because I messed that one up. I'm trying to do this quickly now. I need to slow down. I think the nature of doing this live and want to crack on has meant that I've rushed this a little bit. I suppose you could actually make a whole bunch of it and then just lay it on, but that seems a bit fiddly too, to be honest. Swings and roundabouts, really. Okay, top row going on. Now I've got to do the other side, and then when I've done the other side, yeah, basically we'd do a kit that basically would say, do you want thatch or tiles? And then that way there it will be just simple to stick one or the other in. What do you think, Harry? Did we have that discussion? I'm pretty sure we had that discussion. Okay, so there's the one side of my roof tiled. In each page of tiles, you also get a set of ridge tiles that's got a line down the middle for folding over and to go over the top, which we're going to use in a minute when we've done the other side. Now I'm going to put this back on here for a moment, just so, line it up with the window, so I can start tiling this bit of roof and get it all hanging over. Because you can see the nature of this, I've got a bit of a gap here, and that's fine because you put it all right in the mix. Putting it right in the mix in this case is making sure that your tiles hang down over the side of the wall. Like that. So here we go. Stick that on. Hang that down low. Cool, yo. Right, the other side will be dry enough in a little while. Take a pair of scissors too. Now, let's go back here. It's killing my back, this. What's the time? The time is 10 o'clock. 10 p.m. and all's well. Right. I've got my bottom row of tiles on. I'm going to put another second row of tiles on. They're going to take that off the model. Before I do any more tiling on the model, So I've actually got to the point where there's now too much glue going on and everything needs a few minutes to go off and dry before I carry on. I'm going to stick the door in place. So I'll put that to one side for a minute. Rest it on this end. Get up there, you bastard. Okay, so deliberately, I'm not doing the rest of the tiling for a minute. I'm going to do the rest of the tiling, but I want the glue that I've got on there to give it a chance to dry off. So what I'm going to do for a minute is I'm just going to stick in place the door. And I'm going to put a few more stones around the outside. I'm also going to think about what I'm going to do with my excess bits of balsa wood. So while my glue's drying for a few minutes, I'm going to grab my, this is my balsa I've got here, and I think what I'm going to do is a bit like, and I've got some glue seepage inside there. A bit like that other model, I quite fancy building a log store somewhere. So this is the fun bit in some ways, because I'm literally just going to make this up now as I go along. First of all, I'm going to cut some lengths of, no, I'm not. I'm going to get a ruler out, fuck it. Get a bit wobbly. Okay, I'm going to cut that straight first. All those wonky bits doesn't matter because I'm going to turn them into firewood. I'm going to cut a number of straight beams out of this nice 2.5 mil thick balsa. Like that. And actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build one on the back of the house. So around the back by the chimney, I think I'm going to have a wood store. So first of all, I'm going to cut a piece of balsa, that kind of thick size, which I'm going to stick to the wall. Chamfer off a bit of there. That's cool. So I'm going to stick in there. Then I shouldn't have stuck my door in yet. I should. Okay. Okay. There's a batten going across the back there. That's cool. I'm going to take my ruler. I'm going to measure my door. My door orifice for now is 2.2 millimeters, 2.2 centimeters wide by 3.3 tall. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to make a little door. What would have been sensible with this, making this, would have been to have actually just, before I'd stuck the door on the model, place the door on this piece of balsa wood and drawn the door size bit of wood. But I didn't do that either, did I? So, mental note for when writing instructions, making a door. There we go. Just about wide enough to fit in there. Wide enough to fit in there. Yeah. What did we say that was? Measuring again, measure twice, cut once, 3.3. Conveniently about the size of this ruler. Okay. Show me a little rectangle. Fits in the door of my building. What's this fucking building on? It's I'll say constant. Look, so I've cut out a little rectangle, right, that fits in the door. Woohoo! Okay. Tim, have I seen the game Guards of Traitor's Toll? I have, but I've not tried it yet. It looks fun. Yeah, so Guards of Traitor's Toll. How did that work out for us, lads? Yes. Ow, bollocks, just dropped the skull stuff. To answer your question, Gary, here is Guards of Traitor's Toll. Bought it at Colours. Have even started putting together some guards. Then, a month later, went to Partisan, bought Arkworld. Can't help thinking, going to be playing Arkworld before I play Guards of Traitor's Toll. Even though I really like the concept of Guards of Traitor's Toll. I like the collaborative kind of like possibilities. Arkworld looks kind of zany, and I've got some free figures, and I might be making a piece of, a board for Alex of Warp Miniatures for Salute next year. You never know. Right, okay, so look, drawn in some planks for my door and some woodwork up bits there. I'm going to take a couple of bits more of this thinner balsa wood, and I'm going to cut some battens to go across the back of the door. Like that. 1, 2. Clear up the end nozzle of my yoo-hoo. Get it all over my hands. Rub it all off my hands. Turn my door over. One, 2. Oi, Space Doc. What was the improv guitar solo? I was concentrating on what I was doing, Robin. Or was that because you couldn't see what I was doing? Right, 1, 2 like that. Well, that's good. A little struts across the back of my door. Give it a bit of strength. Oh, shit. Got it stuck to my hand. That's the way it works in this hobby. Stick door, inside door frame. Now, I could actually, if I wanted to, stick it in permanent like, or I could just leave it in there and be able to open it when I want to in game. Oh, little door. Nice. Door, window, looking kind of funky. Okay, so back to my structure around the back. Taking more of this thin balsa that we've put in the kit, purely really for modelling with, like this. So I'm going to roughly cut a roof. It's going to sit on there, just a little thinner. Cut that. Yep. And now I'm going to cut 2 legs. Oh shit! Stick that on the. That was good. That wasn't whimsy. That was swearing. Right. Okay. So Nick, yeah, if you didn't stick a part to yourself, no, you're right, Matt. But no, this wasn't in the plan, but it is in the plan, Nick. You see, the thing is with this, right, is that this is a way of using up extra bits of stuff that's in the model, and also a way of enhancing your kit so it's not just the same as everybody else's. So it is kind of part of the plan. It's what we want to be encouraging people to do. But I was basically getting to a point where that roof has got so much yoo-hoo on it. It needed to just kind of like be left alone for a minute, because it was just getting too damn sticky. Right, okay. So now look, I need legs. So yeah, this is a bit improv-y, but on the other hand, it is part of the plan at the same time. I promise. Kind of thing. It was always the plan to. Cool. Oh! You remember that pin I stuck through the back of the chimney earlier? I just fucking stuck my finger on it. There we go. I knew it would come back and bite me on the bum, or more to the point. Stick a finger on it. Right. Cut that bit off there. Stick that bit back on there. Got space for 2 legs. How big do we want my legs? Oh, fucking, I just done it again. I don't believe it. About that big. Oh, my roof's gone a bit saggy. Look, hang on. Okay, that's currently too tall. It's quite nice. I quite enjoying doing this because I've actually decorated my bedroom this weekend. So I've done painting that I don't like for real, as opposed to just model painting. That's still too tall. Redecorated the bedroom on a whim, but it's nice. Looks good. We're happy with it. We like it. One more little bit there. All right. Good. And then that leg. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Mostly make him put my own mark on it by bleeding of it. Tangent Tim. No, I think you'll find it's not Tangent Tim, Jimbo. It's just ADHD, mate. It's just kind of like, yeah. I'm just squirreling. Look, squirrel. Thanks for watching, Gary. Nice to see you, mate. Okay, so look at the back. I'm glad you think so. I'll get your t-shirt ordered. I'll give you a shout. There we go. Look, there's a little log store out the back of my house. Now what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to make some logs. Go. Out of those bits of wood I cut earlier, they're all wrong. Actually, I'm doing this the wrong way around. I'll just trim it up first, all like that, and then this is why I like balsa wood, you see. Making a right mess. Oh, thanks you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. Thanks for hanging out with me this evening. I'll have the end result on my Facebook page. Jim, of course we're all ADHD. Okay, so look, there's me bits of firewood going on nicely. Phew, shot that bit across the workshop. Right, pile of glue on the floor. Go. Glue all over the desk. Go. Oh, mission accomplished. Pile of firewood stacked up. See, the other thing that I'm doing with this little wood pile like this is the fact that in a minute, when I get to cutting the ends off all the roof tiles, I'm going to use the ends I've cut off to tile my wood store. It's cunning, you see. It's almost like I had a plan. Thanks for hanging out with me, Jimbo. Right, so this has now nearly been 3 hours, 2 and 3/4 hours so far. I am at the point where I'm probably going to have to stop very soon. But it's all right. It's cool. So, those of you who are left, who are here, um, I'm now at the point where this model is nearly done. I'm going to put the finished model in before it's painted on my Facebook page, and I'll put a painted version of it up as well. Here we are. Look, this is what I've got done this evening. Yeah, dude. Yeah, I do that too. But right now they're outside. This is where I've got to this evening. I've got what's left to do. Right, I've got to finish tiling this side. That isn't going to take me that long, but frankly, after a while, it's a bit dull to watch. I've got to put a ridge tile on, and I've got to base this using the handy little bag of basing material that we included, which comes with pebbles, which we'll sift out and stick on individually, and then coral sand as well. And I'm going to put a couple more kind of like rough cut stones down the side. Can you please, those of you who are still watching, just give me an idea if you think that this is a good idea? Are these kits we're talking about doing, this kit and others, do you think that's something that you would use or you could get other people to use? Do you think that the 20 quid that we're talking about charging for this kit is a fair amount of money? Do you think this is a winner, or am I completely barking mad to have done this in the first place? What do you reckon? Cheers, Paul. Thanks very much. Yeah. Cool. So, what do you reckon? Give me a thumbs up. Is this a thing that we need to pursue and do more of? Well, I know you bloody well think so. Cool. Yeah. Excellent. Nice one. Thanks for watching Anfield Road. That's really cool of you. Right. Yeah, nice one, Matt. Well, there is going to be a range. We're going to have a forge. We're going to have this one. We're going to build a chapel and a tavern. So all go with it. Cool. Nice. Look at that. Nice one, you guys. I can't even say that. Heretical hobbyist. Thank you very much. This, like we said, is my first my first live stream. I've been doing this. I have my YouTube channel for 5 years now, but I've never done a live stream. So thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to come back up here. Cables. Yeah. Well, you are actually. Atwood Threads, thanks very much for watching. You probably could get them in the States. We are going to be able to post them. Harry, are we going to be able to post them abroad? I know we had that conversation earlier today. Suggest a simple set of instructions with no options. Going to do that. There's going to be a video to show you how to build the one that's on the box. And then we're going to have another one going, hey, you could do all this kind of stuff with it. Wow, this is really cool. I can't believe how positive all of you guys have been this evening. Thank you so much for joining me. I mean, this is normally I make a video that lasts about an hour. This has been nearly 3, which is absolutely epic. I'm loving the kind of like the campaign, what's it called? The community aspect to doing this. This has been really good fun. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to do this again and show you the finished one again quick. Well, look, this is where we're at. This is the one that's actually on the box. And this is the one. So there we go. There's the front of that. And this is the one that we're doing. So look, it's kind of cool because you get a number of different things out of it. So from that point of view, I think the satisfaction of having these. So by buying this kit 2 or 3 times, you can do 2 or 3 different things with it. So from that point of view, I think it's kind of like it's pretty neat. Exactly. So I'm loving the fact that this has been so well received this evening. My desk looks like a bomb has gone off in a modelling shop now. I don't know where the lid for my glue is, but I think it's something that we'll certainly do. I'd love to be able to send these abroad. I can't see any reason why we couldn't. I mean, there's nothing there that isn't particularly a problem to send abroad. We were this evening having conversations about whether we can send packets of sand and powder abroad. We'll have to look into that. But on the whole, we could certainly send a reduced kit without that kind of thing. But I think that's really, really cool. So this one will be on my Facebook page, and I'll show it to you at the start of my next video. I am hoping to make a start on a Patreon build for a, what's it called? Empire of the Dead building this week. I've got so many things I want to build at the minute. But it's absolutely nuts. Middle Earth stuff, Arcworld stuff, B&B stuff, Patreon, Empire of the Dead stuff. So look, I think that I'm going to kind of sign off in the next few seconds. Thank you very much for watching this evening. It's been a cool way to spend nearly 3 hours of a Sunday night. Yeah. I mean, there are ways. Royal Mail, we can use other people to import to the US. Most stuff going out to the US now is fine, and it's not an expensive kit, so you won't get hit hard by tariffs. But we can't help with that. So look, thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Anfield Road Layout in the Loft. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Vic Leak, Jake, Bricktop, Fable Faye. Well, that's Harry's bound to be watching. Cheers, Dr. Vesuvius. Thank you, Stuart Rathbone. Thank you, Campaign Terrain. You always watch my videos and comment on them. Thank you so much for that. Cheers, Douglas. Nice one. Thanks, David Will. That's a really kind of positive thing to say. Erskine Haroldson. Dude, where are you from? You can't be from around here. Not with a name like that. Come on, own up. Eskil, where are you from? I need to know. Get typing right now. Wicked. We've had people from Australia watching tonight. We've had people watching from the United States of America, and people from all over the UK and possibly Europe as well. Who knows? I actually feel kind of humble, really. That's kind of cool. I'm really, really happy with that. I'm definitely going to be doing this again, but I am going to bring this thing to a close now. So, look, thank you very much for watching. And thank you very much for joining me this evening, Magathia Builder World. These kits will be available, hopefully. Anna Soga, thanks very much. Thanks to the Afternoon of Good Hobby. I'm really pleased you've stuck with me all afternoon in America watching. Thank you very much for watching all the way over there. These kits will be available from Magathia Builder World / Fable Faye by the end of the month, I hope. What we got? Yeah, we got kind of like 12 days. Can we do that in 12 days, Harry? Yeah, of course we can. If you're interested in these, do please DM me on my Facebook page, or we'll have other instructions how to get your hands on these in another video when we've made that actual instruction video, apart from anything else, and an introductory one. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Magathia Builder Worlds. Look out for the next live stream. Watch out for my other videos. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go to bed now. I'm not actually. I'm going to clear up all this shit. Yeah. Is this back in the old days when you only had one phone and it was on a cable and you were phoning your girlfriend? You had to go. You hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up first. No, you hang up first. You hang up first. No, I'm going. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Peace out. Cheers, guys. My stream will stop immediately and I will no longer be live. Good.